All right, first off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to our webinar today. My name is Daniel Freeman, and I'll be hosting the first part of this webinar and kind of introducing you to mPower. And we also have joining us Greg Calcari, who is the founder and owner of mPower. And there's myself. I'm Daniel Freeman, Marketing Manager. Once again, thank you for coming, and let's get started. So our goals for today, like I said, I'll give a brief mPower introduction. I'll highlight a few points about what makes mPower different. And then Greg's going to get into the benefits of AMI integration and do our software demonstration, and we'll wrap up with a Q&A. And like I mentioned before, we have all the lines muted. If you'd like, you can use the chat function to the right of your screen to send us any questions or messages. We'll be answering those towards the end of the presentation today, and then we'll also open up the phone lines. So a little bit about our company. We were founded in 2006. We are a GIS software and smart grid systems integration specialist. We have 25 employees with senior personnel that have over 20 years of experience working with utilities. Over 150 utilities are empowered. And our mission really is to just make GIS and smart grid integration more affordable and more user-friendly by lowering its cost and complexity. I'm talking to you from our headquarters in Iron Mountain, Michigan, and Greg is joining us from our office in Appleton, and we also have an office in Grand Rapids. Some associations and affiliations. We work with Esri and Autodesk. Irby is a distribution partner of ours, and we have numerous national and regional associations. We're members of the American Public Power Association, the NRECA, the Minnesota Rural Electric Association, New York's Utility Association, Michigan, and even the Northeast, a number of associations. So I'll get started here with our kind of company philosophy. So our approach is to coach and train first and provide and do next. Our goal is to, sorry about that. Our goal is to empower our customers, which is where our name comes from. And we do this by providing powerful do-it-yourself solutions, and we're willing to teach you whatever you need to completely self-administer our product. For our customers and prospects that have limited personnel or knowledge, we'll supplement and provide support until you're up to speed. We'll basically support you to make our product do all the things that you're going to see today and give you the cool tools to keep enhancing your product. Keep in mind that the applications and solutions we're going to demonstrate today do not require custom programming or development. And that's one of the key benefits of using our integrator software. Our products are site licensed and browser-based, saving you money, and we base our products pricing off your utility size or number of meters or endpoints. Our service philosophy is about building you a solid foundation for your GIS, and we offer an easy-to-use product that just takes days to install and to get you up and running. And in terms of our service to our customers, we really believe in developing a strong relationship with our customers through exceptional customer service and technical support. And I can speak for myself as a marketing manager here. I've had the opportunity to engage with a lot of our customers, and they're always impressed by the willingness of our tech support team to go above and beyond. One example, a few months ago, we had a couple of our technicians responding at 8 o'clock at night to an email from one of our customers in Tennessee, and it turned out to be a false alarm. But the next day we had the Director of Power Operations contact our president here and apologize for the false alarm and commended us on responding so quickly. And I think we have a few existing customers with us today, and I think they would attest that we're really proud of the kind of relationships we build with our customers. All right, so why mPower? First of all, our software, like I mentioned before, is browser-based and mobile-friendly. And it's adaptable to existing workflows. So keep in mind that everything you see today during the software demonstration can be done in a browser, whether it's on a smartphone or a PC or a tablet. It's also, like I said, adaptable to existing workflows. During our needs analysis and implementation, we'll work with you to tailor our solution to fit your existing workflow. So our solutions don't require you to learn an entirely new way to meet your goals. We leverage your existing enterprise data and systems. So in that spirit, our team can take your data, your existing data, to kind of make the job easier. Our software can also connect to your existing systems, so you don't need to buy all of our products. We can connect to your metering system, your billing system, your AVL, what have you. Our software can fill in the gaps where other systems fall short. We can also save you time and resources by simplifying your workflow. And using our software, you can quickly and easily build, generate, and distribute applications, inspection forms, and custom reports that use data from different enterprise systems. And most importantly, you can provide data to the people who need it when they need it, whether they're in the field or in the office. And so how do we do this? We use Integrator, which is our flagship software program. And Integrator is a web GIS application development platform. It's where we connect all of your systems like AMI, SCADA, CIS, AVL, and work orders, and share that data with various users. With Integrator, you can provide secure, customized access to your maps and data to anyone that would benefit from that. And I'll show you a screenshot of Integrator. And so this is what we'd call a site on Integrator. And your organization can have a number of sites that display certain data. The sites, like I've mentioned before, they're browser-based and can link data from any source. You can customize the look and feel of your site. You can choose different icons and colors, and also you get to choose who sees what data. This particular example here is a rural electric co-op in the Keweenaw Peninsula, which is north of me here on beautiful Lake Superior. And here you can see we're connecting multiple enterprise systems and displaying data from them all on one map. Circuits, meter and outage events, work orders, AVL, CIS, SCADA information, everything's displaying on this map. These different colored line work represent different substations. The red and green triangles represent vehicles. The stars are incidents coming from our call center, Landis & Gear AMR, and our own OMS system. Another really powerful thing about our software is that since you can connect through any browser, you can easily use a smartphone or tablet to access these maps. On a smartphone, you can actually use your phone's talk-to-text command to enter data, as well as the geolocate feature, which I'm using here. I took this screenshot actually yesterday, and if you could see right here, it actually displays this is exactly where I'm speaking to you from, and that's using the GPS kind of technology within my smartphone. So it's a really great feature you can use to locate yourself on the map and add georeference assets to your map, which we'll touch on in the meter change-out demo. I just want to review some of our other software solutions. As I mentioned, Integrator is what we're going to be talking a lot today about. We're also going to touch on our outage management system. We offer a work order product, maintenance management, and an AVL product. And we also do a lot of services because it's important to really build that strong GIS foundation, and we want to help you build that. So we offer GPS asset location services, map and GIS cleanup, CAD to GIS support and network modeling, conversion, and mapping and software training. So if you need assistance with your GIS system to get it off the ground, we can definitely help you. And just to kind of summarize, anytime you're considering deploying or advancing your GIS, OMS, or AMI infrastructure, definitely give us a call. Whether you're researching different solutions, updating or upgrading your maps, considering a GPS field inventory, or just looking to take your GIS to the next level, definitely count on us. We can provide you all the support you need to get you where you want to go. And with that, I'll pass this over to Greg to get the software demonstration started.
Okay. Thanks, Dan, and thanks, everybody, for coming today. Let me get my screen shared. Okay. My screen's displaying, Dan, I assume?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. I've just got one slide here just to introduce or basically provide the overview of what we're going to cover today. These are basically the bullets that you saw on the announcement for the webcast and on the website. So I'm going to first use a couple different customer sites. One is a municipal, where I'm going to do kind of the introduction of the software and give you a feel for the layout and navigation and ease of use. Yes.
If you want to swap the view on your PowerPoint, it's showing the presenter's view.
Okay. How's that?
I can just...
Oh, here we go. I see. That better?
Perfect.
Okay. So, and then we're going to hit on the topics after I introduce the product. We're going to go through real-world examples, again, using customers to real-world customers. We're going to play a couple of videos along the way and really get into some of the nitty-gritty in terms of model creation and management, predictive outage analysis, AMI to OMS integration, call capture and management, response management, public outage maps, and web outage notifications so your customers can get through to you through the web if they want to. And then we'll wrap up with a load analysis example of pulling AMI data in, and that'll involve a customer video. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the software. And as I mentioned, I'm going to start, this is a customer of ours in Minnesota, Brainerd Public Utilities. And I'm just going to start, introduce you to the software a little bit. The basic layout of the software is that the navigation and typical things you would expect in a GIS system, zoom in, zoom out, back and forward tabs, map tips, sliding the map around, and then data search. Those things are up above. Over on the left are things I'll be using as we go, query tools, the layers, base maps, buffering, measure, red line markup, the administration, printing maps, tracing, and so we'll get into those that Dan showed on the little picture of the person holding a phone, the geolocate. So that's basically how the software is laid out. We also have a feature, even though we've taken great care to keep as much of the screen real estate available for the map by using these ribbons, you'll also have the ability to go to a full screen mode, which again, because everything is fully optimized for phones and tablets as well as office use, if you really need to use the most amount of screen possible, you can do that by hitting that little screen button there, and then escape brings you back to the normal mode. Okay, so I'm also going to show you that in this case, this customer has multiple sites. I'm in their electric site, but they're a municipal. They also use our product equally effectively for wastewater, water, and they also have some things, I'll get into this one in a little bit, the meter change out there in the process right now of deploying Landis and Geared Gridstream AMI system. And the point I want to make here is it's very easy to set up different sites or maps for different people and different usages. So in our vernacular, a site is really a combination of the maps, what data you want available, and which people have access to it. So I'm going to zoom into this site here a little bit and kind of get you familiar with it, and then we'll show some specific examples. So if I zoom in, of course, now we're going to see a lot more detail here, and I'm going to open up my layers legend just to kind of get you acquainted with some of their symbology. You see a lot of brown circles here. These are poles. If I zoom into this area a little bit more, we'll see some more detail where we have the ability, these service locations. Should probably zoom back a little bit. And so depending on your zoom scale, of course, those that are familiar with GIS, you'll see your different levels of detail depending on how zoomed in you are. And of course, all the symbology is user definable, so you don't have to use this particular look and feel. As you see later, I'll switch to a cooperative site, and theirs is a lot different just because that's very easy to customize and set it up to a way that's comfortable. And obviously, if you have your existing GIS symbology, you can use that as well. Okay, so the other thing that is built into the product is, of course, base maps. If you have aerial photography yourself, or if you want to use any of the standard base maps that are out there, you can do that as well. So what I'm going to do now is shift to gathering some information. Let's say I'm looking for some data. Let me get this little panel out of the way here. So we have a concept in our software, as Dan showed in that chart, we're connected to not only the data that's in the mapping software, but we can connect to your data in all your different systems, and obviously we work with you to decide, you know, what data is in these different systems that you'd like to have in your GIS. So I'm going to show the power of that now in a couple different ways by starting off with just doing a basic smart reporting search here. If I'm searching for information in this area, I can do it by a point select, just pick on something. I can do a circle, an irregular polygon, or just a regular rectangle. So I'm just going to grab an area here, and you'll notice the bubble help tells you everything, you know, press down, start, let go. So it makes it very easy to do that. And so what Integrator is doing now is it's saying, okay, Mr. User, for that area that you dragged over, I'm looking at the data in the maps, the data that's in the other systems. I'm going to check your security permissions to see what data is available, and then I'm going to give you a list of the reports that have been built with Integrator and that have been released to you. So you can see quite a few different things here: lights, meters, primary cabinets, reclosers. These are reports that were built by the people at Brainerd, not by us. We taught them how to do it. It's a pretty easy process. And so when I'm the end user, I can come in and say, okay, I'm looking for the wood poles in this area. So now you'll notice this information. Again, this report was user definable. This is a pretty detailed report here. It shows the pole use, joint use, information, framing specs, manufacturer, lights on the poles, risers on the poles. And so all of these columns are sortable and searchable. So if you click on the column header, it will sort based on that. You also have the ability to type in search filters. So you can say, and I want to see anything that's street light related, and it will show anything where there's the word street is contained in there. So if I take the filter out, then it goes back to you know, the full report of information here. I also have the ability to create secondary reports that I want to have linked in to a specific area. So you'll notice in this case they have a light report. So if I had some data here, I wanted to see some more information, I could click on that. I don't know if there's anything in here. Yep. Okay, so I clicked on that particular pole and said I wanted to see the light information, and now it gives me more detail about the actual light that's on that pole, what type of light it is, bulb type, wattage, that type of information. So the ability to build your own reports and also connect them in ways that make sense, where a lot of times you're looking at a big picture report and you want to see the overview, but then maybe on a particular record in that report you want to dive into the detail. Very easy to do that in that particular case. Obviously, the other thing I can do, I have these, you'll see throughout the software, these little zoom buttons, which if I want to, you know, zoom in on a particular record, I can do that, and it will center it right in the screen for me and put a highlight on it. You can choose what type of symbol or color you want to use in that highlight. Okay, the other things that I probably won't go into in great detail here, but you have measure tools, markups, map captures, output. So in the context of, you know, the webcast, we don't show every feature of the product, but there's a lot of nice tools that people use in terms of marking up and printing maps and that type of thing as well. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. So far what I've done was I started with my map and zoomed into an area. In this case, I knew where I was looking in general, but I wanted to get information about that area. Well, because we have such a rich system here of data, we also may have a lot of circumstances where we want to be able to search for information that's in those different databases that are connected or in the map data. So if I look at this list, you can see on these queries or searches that Brainerd has quite a few of those as well: capacitors, customers, lights, lift stations. And I'm just going to use a transformer search. So when they started using the product, they said, okay, when we have somebody that wants to look up a transformer, how might they want to look it up? By a particular number, by a feeder, whether it's overhead or underground, or by kVA. So you just you set these queries up and again release them to the folks that you want to have use them. So I'm going to say I want to take a look at my 2000 kVA transformers on my system. And by running that report, I can see again I have a lot of good information here about the transformers, and I also can tell that I have 5 of those on the system. So I can hit zoom all over here and it'll show me where all 5 of those are. I also have a nice example here where if I hold over this button, you'll notice a spreadsheet report. Similar thing to what I showed before in that we have more information here available. So if I wanted to dive into some more detail about this transformer, this particular transformer on, on this first one in this report, I can do that. Or up here on the right, I can just switch the report mode over and say, show me the detail spreadsheet data on these spreadsheets, and as opposed to the high-level data about the big picture about them. Okay, another thing that I can do when I'm in a report, if you'll notice this symbol, whenever you see this symbol, this means there's been a form created, either data editing or adding. So I can come in here if I'm doing an asset swap out or updating some information in the field or in the office. Again, this customer set up a data form to get that information in. So again, we can create and have our people in the field and in the office becoming, data quality control people, and really as part of just doing their normal job, they can update information right away and get it into the system as opposed to putting it on a piece of paper in a binder in the truck and doesn't get updated for a long time, and obviously a lot of potential for inaccuracies. Okay, so I'm going to change sites here and just go to one more of the Brainerd sites and show their deployment map. So they call it the meter changeout map. And you'll notice this has obviously different symbology, and I'm going to zoom in just again so you can see a little more detail. So what they've done, they're just really starting. This was a pilot project. These green circles are their new RF meters, and the red ones are, the existing TS2 meters. You'll also notice a yellow one here. What they did in this case is they keep track of whether they've transferred the new meter information into their billing system. So they can see with this yellow meter that step still has to be done. So it kind of goes through 3 stages. It's originally red, then it's yellow, then it turns green. Green means, the process is complete. So along those lines, what I'm going to do now is shift gears a little bit and play a video of a customer also in Minnesota. It's actually Dan showing how a customer used the deployment. And keep in mind when I play this, I should say used our meter swap out tool. And it's an example of, again, not custom programming. Customer just said, hey, we got this ability to build forms and do everything on the map and in the field. So while we're doing this AMI deployment, let's really create a streamlined process so, we can get the work done and get the system updated at the same time. So I'm going to just play that video And keep in mind when you look at this video that it also, obviously, people use the same process for any other type of asset change out or meter maintenance or disconnect or those type of things.
Hello, my name is Daniel Freeman, and today I'm going to demonstrate an application of our integrator software to make the process of meter changeout faster and more efficient. So what we're looking at on this site are all of our meters. The red dots indicate meters that have not been changed out yet, and the blue dots indicate meters that have been replaced with new Landis & Gyr meters. First thing we need to do, we need to locate the meter we're going to replace. We have a few ways we can do this. We can zoom in on the map and select the meter, with a GPS-enabled device, like a smartphone or tablet, you can use the geolocate button to quickly find the meter on the map. Because I'm on a laptop, I'm actually going to search for the meter. So I have the meter number entered here I'm looking for. I'm going to run this report. And from here you can see the meter number and the address. And at this point, there are two ways you can change the meter. You can go straight into the meter changeout form, or you can use the Move Edit button, which is this little globe here, and that lets you assign a new location for the meter. Because this meter, well, let's actually zoom into the meter first. So you'll see right here, this meter is actually showing up kind of in the yard here, and because of that, we're going to actually want to move it to where it's located next to the house here. So to do that, we're going to click on the globe, and we're going to get this form geometry picker. From here, if we were standing right where we wanted to put the meter, we could use the, if we were on a tablet or smartphone, we could click this and move this point here, or we can just use map select, and we'll click the point where we want, and then we're going to hit submit. And now I'm automatically brought into the meter changeout form. Once we're in this form, the first thing you're going to want to do is take a picture of the old meter. When you click this Choose File button here, if you're on a smartphone or tablet, you'll instantly be able to capture a photo of the old meter. In this case, I'm going to upload a file from my computer. This old meter picture. All right, next we're going to go through and complete the rest of these fields here. So we're going to put the employee who's doing the meter changeout. The install date we'll do for today. We have the old meter number already populating. We're going to put in an old reading, and an old flex ID, and all these fields are user definable. And now there's new meter fields here. We're not going to fill those out yet because we haven't installed the new meter. Now we're going to go through and make sure that the address is correct, and we're going to hit submit form. All right, at this point we are ready to install the new meter. So I'm going to refresh the screen, and you'll see that that meter location has changed to where I'd like it to show up on the map. And now we're going to go right back into the form. We're going to install the meter, and then once the meter is installed, we're going to go into the form here, and we're going to upload or take a picture of the new meter. And once the photo is uploaded, we'll enter the new meter information. We'll put in the new meter number, and the new reading, which is going to be 0. And you can also enter class and form information too. And we'll submit the form. Form of submission was successful. And we'll go back here. And if we look, the red dot is now blue, and that meter is that new meter has been installed. So using the same application, you can delete meters that are duplicates or no longer in service or add new ones. Of course, we encourage our customers to set up user-defined permissions so that deletions need to be approved before being deleted out of the system. And that concludes our demonstration of Integrator's meter changeout application. As you can see, this Integrator application makes the changeout process much more smoother and efficient. Thanks.
Okay, so let me switch back to the software now. I'm going to go into a cooperative site and continue on with the topics that we outlined. Okay, so let me double check I got the right site here, and the right password helps as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go into an Ontonagon Rural Electric Co-op site. And again, as I did before, kind of start off by, we've got their public outage map. We'll get to that in a second. Switch to their main internal site. So this was the example that Dan showed a picture of in the PowerPoint presentation, where they are tapping the data from a lot of different systems, their vehicle location system and our outage management system. We have customers that already have an outage management system. We tie in with any of those, and obviously with the AMI systems as well. So we're going to get into several different examples of the AMI integration benefits. And I'm going to start by talking about and showing some examples of data or circuit model management, first of all, and creation. And having your circuit model in your map is one of the foundations to a more advanced integrated system. It helps with outage management, obviously, with load analysis, with a lot of more of the advanced capabilities. And so I'm going to start talking about some of the tools that we have. And for those of you that don't have a circuit model in your maps yet, we have tools that make it, pretty easy to get to that point, and then tools to keep it maintained. And if you use engineering, or your engineering firm uses tools like MillSoft or SIME, we can stay synchronized with those. So we've been doing modeling for a long time and really have helped our customers, do it as easily and efficiently as possible and tap the benefits of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the administration area and show you our model checking system. So this customer has their circuit model in the system. And so I'm going back here, and also for those of you that are municipals, you'll notice we have two different types of models, a parent-child data model, which is the industry standard for electric, and then of course topology, which in this case is a water customer who uses a different model but still uses all the capabilities of our product. So I'm going to go into this customer's site and process this model. So what this does is it really is something that our customers will do, just on occasion, or particularly after there's been a lot of changes to the map. Obviously there's human error involved. If you got to put a new service in, it's possible that you would, not connect it up right. So what this is going to do is scan through the entire model and validate all of the connections and identify any issues that might be present. So you'll notice it's processing now up-down values. It's done with that. It's doing, basically any problem identification. And down below here, it's doing the upstream model creation. So this will take a minute or two, but again, it's something you don't do every day. It's just something, hey, I want to check my model and I want to see visually, not just data, but actually be able to see it visually on the map. Okay, so this is just about done. Actually looks like it is done. So now what I'm going to do is change to look at see if it found any problems. So what I can do is actually in my layers area, I can identify, and you can have a separate map set up just for this, which would be something that a lot of customers will do. And so, again, you'll notice in this legend, it shows where it's identified anything like a bad upstream ID or a parentless or a parent-child loop. And again, if you zoom in more detail, you can see that information. So it really helps making the process of keeping your circuit model accurate a lot easier. You know, it gives you the visual tools, it does the checking for you. And we have customers that, you know, are doing, before they got working with us, were doing a lot of work in both the map and in their modeling, trying to keep everything up to date. So that's really the foundation. Now I'm going to go in and talk about predictive analysis and AMI to OMS integration and take advantage of all that, not only AMI data, but also the circuit model that's in the system. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my main master look at mine, switch back to the big picture here. And so we also have the predictive analysis, that same tool that does the model checking and keeps your model accurate is also what we use for predicting outages during outage situations. So by turning on my predictive engine and having it display on the map, I can now see this type of information, what is being predicted. I'll zoom in a little more so we can take a look at that. So in this case, it's showing, you know, different outages, and it's using predictive analysis logic. And again, in each one of these topics that we're into, we could do a whole separate, you know, hour-long session on outage management and predictive analysis, but we like to show, you know, the concepts and the capability within each of these areas. Okay, so now I'm going to switch into kind of more into the outage management side of things and show how we're pulling data not only from AMI but from multiple sources here. So let me switch back to the main view of the map and also open up my outage management system. So again, one of the things that we stress here with the outage management system is that this is a true outage management system, not just, you know, stars on a Google map that, you know, some people will portray as an outage management system. This is really about connecting and communicating and managing the process. Obviously, with an AMI and getting data quicker and more accurate, that's a huge benefit to outage management. But we've been doing outage management system for years, and a lot of our customers, you know, didn't have an AMI or just going to an AMI. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where that information comes in. If you look at, if we look at this legend here, you'll see this is data that's coming in, and if there was some red records here, which there'll be in a minute because I'm going to put some calls in, there would be red stars on the map indicating there's been some new stuff. If it's blue, it means I've determined that that's a discrete outage, and if it's black, it means I've rolled trucks on it, and then, of course, if it's gold, it's restored. And so we're going to talk about the process here a little bit, and again, for those that are interested in taking a look at our fully integrated GIS and outage management system, we do more one-on-one demos to go through it, but I'm going to walk you through the basics here and give you a feel for that. So if we look at these outages that have come in, we can see that these were created by different things. These that say web service, this customer has the Landis& Gyr system, so it's coming in from their metering system. This one is from a CRC ticket, which is a call center, so we can listen for call center direct entries as well. And we also have a couple of other components that I'm going to show here in a minute that allow us to get stuff in from our website, so customers can go to our website and notify us about an outage, and also obviously direct calls. So I'm going to start with a call capture. Despite all the technology out there in the world and the greatest, AMI system, there's still going to be people, obviously, that give you a phone call. And so I'm going to start by hitting that and going into a call, just showing you a simple example of taking a call. So we connect up to your website, and we can, your billing system, so that you have this linkage. So if you type somebody's last name or their address, it's going to come up and show you what it's finding, so you can verify you have the right person. And you can say, pick the right one. And this right now is in what we call rapid mode, or express capture mode, so that there's a step here where I can actually have it go to survey questions. So we kind of have two different modes here, where if it's what we call a sunny day outage, or there isn't a huge storm with multiple outages, we can gather information from the customers. Hey, did you hear a loud bang or see a flash of light? Is there any wires down? You can gather that information. You can also use the system for dig safes, or, service calls or other things. And then, so it can be as quick as you want, or you can go into more detail depending on, the circumstances. Either way, I put a call in, I say I'm done, it goes and allows me to take the next call. So if I look at my manage screen now, I have a new call that I just put in, and I can tell it was entered by me because I'm signed in as the administrator. Now, another way that calls can get in here is, if you'll notice, there's a public site button here, and our customers have the ability, if they choose, to put a link on their website. And obviously, with people having, mobile mobile tablets and wanting to be able to use the web a lot more, you can set this up. Obviously, your logo would be here. You can create your welcome message, and then and you'll notice a lot of white space here. This is set up for, a phone or tablet as well. So all of our apps are really optimized for mobile applications. And so when somebody comes to your website, they have to be able to put in a valid account number or phone number, typically. So when they do that, they can just hit the search button. The software will verify the address so that they can tell, okay, this is the correct thing. I'm going to put in information here, and I can also, as the utility, you can define categories that you might want them to pick from. So again, even though you're not talking to them, you might get some information that's valuable. They can put in comments and then submit that. So it will give a notification. It'll also handle, if the meter's already called in, it will come in and say, hey, we know about, it'll give you a prompt. You can set up a prompt that says, we're already aware, thank you for notifying us, but, we're aware of the situation. And so if I go back to my OMS and refresh, that was a different setting, or a different instance of the software I had open. But now you'll see that entry from the public site has come in. And all of this information is being simultaneously displayed on my map. So I think up here there's a red star that wasn't there before, and another one here. So our customers typically, in the war room or the conference room, they'll have the map as well as the manage screen up, and they can really, see what's happening and manage all of the stuff. So within an actual outage, I'm going to go into an outage, and again, this is just where I'm going to hit some of the quick stuff and not really go through all of the detail here, but in each one of these outages, I can create an outage name. It's the Apple 10 outage. I can put in the priority. I can see all the calls that have come in associated with that outage. I can keep track of my overtime when I called people in, who I've used on this particular outage. I can handle and manage my crew assignments, and it will keep a history of all of that. I can keep track of my notifications and referrals of emergency folks or other utilities. And then I can also record when I get the power back on, and all of the reliability reporting and stuff like that can be set up so that it's automated. Now, one other thing in the advanced, we talk about the multi-speak interface. We've been, multi-speak compliant for years and have worked with every AMI system imaginable out there. And without getting into all the nitty-gritty of this, this is where we set up the system to work with how different AMI systems work. And so there's just some things here. This really just reflects the experience that we have working with a lot of different systems. We also have the ability to enter in and build notification thresholds. So if key customers go out or certain thresholds are met in terms of X number of calls have come in, we can set that information up. We can also group in the multi-speak interface. We can say, for calls that all come in within 5 minutes on the same feeder and substation from a last gas meter, let's consolidate and group those into an outage. So again, without going into every single aspect of the outage management system, we've done a lot of AMI integration work with a lot of different AMI vendors over the years. Okay, so one last thing, I actually showed it accidentally, but I'll go back to showing it intentionally now. This customer also has a public-facing map, so that this is, again, very easy to do with Integrator because you can set up different things. The customer had created different zones in their system where they wanted calls to be grouped. They don't necessarily want to show the public every single detail, but they want at least to be able to display to the public, this is, what's going on in terms of outages. Okay, so I'm going to flip over back to my videos here and play a video from one of our customers on how they utilize the product with for load analysis.
One of the things that the first important thing we did once we linked our AMR system with our GIS system was to look at all the transformers that were overloaded. So to find overloaded transformers, we would just run a query, and we have a whole list of queries here. We can go to transformers by percent, and if we look at average load, that's going to be the 24 hours in a day the way we have the report set up. So these transformers are going to be the transformers in our system on our peak day that had a load that was higher than 100%. Now, right now, you can see we have 23 transformers in our system where our peak day this year went over 100%. So if we're looking at these, one of the things that was important to us is we got the average load for the day, then we did our peak hour, and then what we did just to gather information was the non-incident peak. Because if a transformer has multiple people on it, eventually all of the different customers' peak loads are going to coincide on a long heat wave. So this non-incident peak of 300 is pretty scary, whereas right now you look at it in this transformer, it's near maximum capacity, but how much risk is there? Well, the 300 non-incident peak to me means there's a lot of risk. So let's take a look at that transformer a little more closely. So if we click on the button, we zoom right into where that transformer is. And so now this is a 10 kVA transformer that's serving 4 houses. You can't. Let me just zoom out a tad. The way it's zoomed in, I can see one of the secondary lines, but okay, so there's actually 4 houses served by this one transformer. So these 4 different houses all peak at different times. And if we run this report, we can see the 4 different people on the transformer and what they're doing. So now, because we've got the AMR system linked to the GIS system, and the mPower product is kind of integrating it, so the address and name is coming from our billing system. The meter data is coming from our AMR system, but the way all of the things are grouped is coming from our GIS system. So we have 3 totally separate databases linked together in one PDF report. So the first thing we notice, we have one customer here who's the big user on this transformer. And the non-incident peak, we have this one user who has a huge load 1 hour of the day. And at some point, so fortunately, during our peak hour, this one user who's got the huge peak wasn't using a lot, but at some point during the day he is. So to me, this is from our peak, our recent peak, this is a transformer that we need to upsize. Because at some point his peak is going to be at the same time everybody else is going to be peaking, and this transformer is going to overheat. Now, when we first installed these queries, I must confess we had lots of transformers that were over 200% average, and so first we started with the over 250%, and then we went to the over 200%, and now we kind of play with the 150% to get those out of our system. So that was the first thing we did when we got the integrator system working on our system.
Okay, so as you can see, that's a pretty unique example. Excuse me while I switch back to the software here.
I'm your host, Stephen.
Sorry about that, Stephen. So one of the things I'd like to do too, and then we'll wrap up, is just show some of the additional capability with combining not only the transformer load analysis, but being able to do load analysis really in any part of your system, whether it's a transformer or you want to be able to check the load downstream of a fuse and see that. So I'm just going to show one of the sites and just show a little bit more, and then we'll open things up for questions and wrap up today's meeting. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in. There's a particular area where I'm going to search for that has the example that I was thinking about. And by doing that, I'm going to zoom into a particular customer, actually a particular transformer, I should say. And so, again, because this is not only the data model is connected to be able to do the analysis of all these customers are on this particular transformer, I can also say, you know, what I want to do is kind of take a look at this little cul-de-sac here. I've got a 75K fuse there, and I want to do some analysis on that as well. So while I'm at this location, I can grab my trace tool and say flood out to protective devices. And by doing that, what the software is going to do now is connect all of the transformers that are downstream of that protective device, which is this 75K transformer here. So now all of the reporting tools that Kevin showed are available to run either on an individual transformer or on an aggregate basis, or show me each transformer but put it all in one report. Really depends on how you'd like to do it. So again, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. We try to keep these within the rough hour that we indicate the thing will take. So Dan, if you want to open up the lines for questions and maybe talk about next steps or what people typically might do after attending one of our webcasts, we can have that discussion and see if anybody has any